It's Tuesday, June 7th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news today, including state police trying to identify an unconscious man found on Route 8, details from the Christopher Plaskin sentencing yesterday, a shuttered business suing a town for a smell they say scared customers away, and much more. Rob Adams will have a look at the forecast and a Nutmeg sports update, and later on, Donald Lang will take a look back on this day in history. But first, state police troopers in Bridgeport are looking for help to identify a male who was found unconscious on the right shoulder of Route 8 southbound near Exit 2 in Bridgeport. On June 6th at about 5 in the morning, an unidentified black male victim was located on the shoulder. The victim is suspected of falling from the Washington Street overpass in Bridgeport onto Route 8. Upon arrival, troopers located the unconscious male victim and rendered first aid. He was transported to Bridgeport Hospital for evaluation of several broken bones, lacerations, and an apparent head injury. The male victim did not appear to have been struck by a vehicle, however. He was not in possession of any identification and is described as a black male with salt and pepper balding hair, a gray mustache, and beard. He's approximately 45 to 60 years old and about 5 foot 10 inches tall, weighing 220 to 240 pounds. At the time, he was wearing a flannel shirt, work pants, and black sneakers. Anyone who may know the identity of the male victim or who can provide information can contact troopers at Troop G in Bridgeport 203-696-2500. All calls will be kept confidential. And before Christopher Plaskin was sentenced to 25 years in prison on Monday, State's Attorney Kevin Lawler noted that it took only 33 seconds for Christopher Plaskin to take a life that many people described as promising and inspiring when he stabbed and killed Marin Sanchez in the stairwell at Jonathan Law High School on April 25, 2014. That 33 seconds demonstrated the violence behind the attack, Lawler said of the killing, which happened on the day of the junior prom. Judge John Ronan on Monday told Marin Sanchez's parents that parole is a possibility, and they will both be advised if and when Plaskin does become eligible for parole, and they will be able to speak at that time. Plaskin, wearing a yellow jumpsuit and glasses, handcuffed and bowing his head at times, declined an offer to speak during his sentencing. His attorney, however, Edward Gavin, issued a comment for Plaskin, apologizing to Marin's family and friends. Friends and family of Plaskin and Marin Sanchez, who were both 16 on the day of the attack, filled the courtroom Monday morning to witness his sentencing. Jose Sanchez, Marin's father, decried the sentence as unfair because it means that Plaskin may be eligible for parole in 12 to 13 years. Sanchez said that while Christopher Plaskin may walk out of prison at the age of 32 or 33 with a college education, his daughter will not be walking out of her grave. He and Marin's mother, Donna Cimarelli, battled tears throughout the hearing, and they both issued statements when they got a chance to speak. Donna Cimarelli said in court that she told her daughter when she was little that she was going to be president someday. She said everything Marin did, she put 100% into. There's a lot more on that story at milfordmirror.com. And in other news today, a drunk Stamford man who allegedly tried to steal a Bedford Street parking attendant's car before crashing it into a concrete pillar in the parking lot was arraigned in court this week. The Stamford Advocate reports that the man was found with evidence of several other thefts in the area. Police said that just before 11:40 at night on Friday, a 59-year-old parking attendant on Bedford Street saw his Dodge Grand van pulling out of the spot that he had parked in a few hours earlier and watched it back into a pillar. Sergeant Robert Shawinski said that when the attendant tried to stop the man behind the wheel from fleeing, he was punched in the left eye and mouth before the suspect ran northbound on Bedford Street. A man fitting the description was seen walking by the parking lot a few minutes later, and the attendant pointed at the man and told police that he was the one who had crashed the car. While police were searching the man, identified as 21-year-old Donovan Carter of Pequot Drive, they found some items that clearly did not belong to him. Police said that Carter, who was stinking of liquor with bloodshot eyes and could hardly stand on his feet, told them that he had been drinking for nearly 11 hours straight and claimed to be a friend of the car's owner. When he was booked, police found 3 cell phones and 4 credit cards that were not in his name. And 5 Darien police officers will receive the United States Attorney's Award next week in New Haven for their work on a case that is a significant one to the department. Recently retired Lieutenant Ron Bussell, Officer Mike Cummings, Sergeant Jeremiah Marin, Officer James Martin, and Lieutenant George Chip Vitone have been notified that they received the award in connection with the investigation and ultimate conviction of Anthony Sabato in November. Sabato is the only person of interest in the 34-year unsolved murder of Officer Kenneth Bateman, and he was sentenced to more than 13 years in prison for drug trafficking in Hartford in November. The judge also found when he was sentenced that Anthony Sabato supplied the firearm that was used in the murder of Bateman on May 31st, 1981. In November, Deirdre M. Daly, United States Attorney for the District of Connecticut, announced that Sabato, who's 57 years old and lives in West Haven, was sentenced to 165 months in prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release for trafficking crack cocaine. And the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection passed one hurdle in its quest to add amenities to Silver Sand State Park. But Milford officials say there are still several steps to go before the project can move forward, and that they can plan to fight the project if it isn't adjusted to address the city's concerns. There was little fanfare about the decision, but at the end of April, the DEEP approved, with some modifications, a permit to add a boardwalk extension to Silver Sand State Park, on which it plans to build restrooms and a concession stand. At the end of last year, residents turned out in force to protest the park improvement plans, which include adding parking spaces and installing ticket booths, at which park visitors, including Milford residents, would have to pay a parking fee. There's much more on that story at milfordmirror.com. But we're going to switch gears now and throw it over to Rob Adams for a look at the forecast. Rob?
All right, Kate, good morning, everyone. Beautiful day outside as we glance out to Bridgeport Avenue, but a chance of showers and thunderstorms come in this afternoon. Now, that's a 40% chance of showers. Some of those storms could produce small hail and gusty winds, so in other words, we will need A.J. Simonowski, as we are setting up the cables over at Fairfield Ludlow, work quickly because AJ works like that. Partly sunny otherwise, high near 84 with the wind out of the southwest around 9. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 58 with the wind out of the northwest around 6. To Wednesday, chance of showers and thunderstorms after 9. And again, some of those storms now could produce hail, gusty winds with increasing clouds and a high near 70. The wind out of the west at 7 to 14, and the chance of precipitation is 50%. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, low 52, kind of chilly as we go to Thursday, mostly sunny and 69. We go into Friday with a sunny day and a high near 71, partly sunny and 73 for Saturday, chance of showers and 74 for Sunday, and mostly sunny and 76 as we move back to the work week next Monday. Around the region, Greenwich, you have 79. In Fairfield, where we will be later, it's 78. And here in Shelton, 80 degrees, Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. We're going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Dang takes a look back on this day in history. Rob has a Nutmeg sports update, and we have some more local headlines coming up after this.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well. With the 24-month Bank Well Smart CD, you can earn 1.35% APY and raise your rate and add to your CD.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 1 million people have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment programming since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this Tuesday edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network, and it's time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Eng. Check it out.
A pair of court cases with dramatic and far-reaching consequences. But first we go to 1654. Louis XIV is crowned King of France. He would reign for an amazing 72 years. Among his accomplishments, building France into the leading European power, constructing the lavish palace at Versailles, and fathering children by the dozen. 6 with his first wife Maria Theresa, at least 15 others with his 7 official mistresses. How do they have time to do anything else? 1776, Richard Henry Lee presents the Lee Resolution to the Continental Congress. The motion is seconded by John Adams and calls for the secession of the United States from Great Britain, leading to the Declaration of Independence. To 1892, Homer Plessy is arrested for refusing to leave his seat in the whites-only car of an interstate train. Plessy was actually 1/8 black, 7/8 white, and he informed the conductor that he was partially black, then told him that he would not be moving. Plessy had even brought a private officer with him with arrest powers to ensure that he was arrested and charged, but he would lose the subsequent Plessy versus Ferguson Supreme Court case. Justice Henry Billings Brown delivered the majority opinion in favor of the state of Louisiana. The opinion read in part, "The object of the 14th Amendment was undoubtedly to enforce the absolute equality of the two races before the law, but in nature of things it could not have been intended to abolish distinctions based on color or to enforce social as distinguished from political equality or a commingling of the races upon terms unsatisfactory to either. The decision would result in separate but equal being the law of the land for the next 6 decades." And finally, now we go to 1965, a case that came from right here in Connecticut. Here it is.
The case arose when Estelle Griswold, the executive director of Planned Parenthood League of Connecticut, and Dr. Lee Buxton, doctor and professor at Yale Medical School, were arrested and found guilty of violating Connecticut law. They challenged the constitutionality of the law before the Supreme Court of Errors of Connecticut and later the United States Supreme Court. In a 7-2 decision authored by Justice William Douglas, the court struck down the ban on birth control as it applied to married couples. In doing so, it recognized a fundamental right to privacy that had not been previously recognized by the Supreme Court.
That was the 1965 Supreme Court ruling in Griswold v. Connecticut, striking down the state's ban on contraception. By affirming the right to privacy in personal matters, the decision would factor into the Roe v. Wade decision and also the Lawrence v. Texas decision of 2004, which overturned a 1986 law that banned homosexual contact. The right to privacy, first affirmed by the Supreme Court on this day, June 7th. That is your look back in history, and I'm Donald Eng.
Thanks, as always, to Don Eng. Now it's time to throw things back over to Rob Adams for a Nutmeg Sports Update.
All right, Kate, it's in softball. It's all over for the St. Joseph Cadets. The Cadets were upended by Rocky Hill 1-0 in the Class M semifinals in Stratford yesterday. Nicole Williams allowed 1 run as her splendid high school career comes to a close. The Cadets built a rally in the 7th off Jess Greenspan with runners on 2nd and 3rd and 1 out before the Rocky Hill pitcher came back to get the final 2 outs via strikeout. The Cadets finish with an FCAC championship and a 24-2 record. From boys golf, Dave Stewart tells us in the New Canaan Advertiser that Justin Clark shot an even par 72, and the Rams had 4 golfers score in the 70s as they finished 4th at the CIAC Division I Championship Monday at Tallwood Country Club in Hebron. New Canaan shot a 304 as a team, just 4 strokes off the lead. Simsbury and Xavier were co-champs at 300, with Staples third at 303. Darien, the FCAC champion, scored 305 and tied Glastonbury for 5th place. In Division III boys golf, the Weston Trojans finished 7th, tied with Lewis Mills. Killingly won the state title with a combined 310. Matt Stafford of Suffield shot a 73 to be the top golfer. Robert Waltzman of Weston was the top local with a score of 79. Joel Barlow won Division II by 4 shots over Berlin and Notre Dame of West Haven. Michael Brown of Barlow shot a 74. Over to track and field now. Kenaje Brown of Bridgeport Central won the 100-meter dash at the State Open with a time of 11.98. Bloomfield won the overall girls title and Danbury finished 5th, while Wethersfield won the boys and Danbury finished 4th. Emily Philippides of Greenwich won the 800 meters in 2:11.90, and Hannah DeBalsey of Staples took the 3200 in 10:33.26. As you watch Hannah, again, you talk about another great high school career getting ready to come to a close. On the schedule today, first and foremost, let's talk about us, because we've got a couple of big games in the States. We're in Class L today. In girls lacrosse, we'll be at Fairfield Ludlow. Game 1 at 5 o'clock, the Greenwich Cardinals and the Fairfield Ward Mustangs. The winner moves on to the state championship game, which will be at Jonathan Law on Saturday. Game 2 will be the Darien Blue Wave and the Wilton Warriors, and that again at 7 o'clock at Fairfield Ludlow. So 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock today, Greenwich, Fairfield Ward, and Darien and Wilton winners play for Class L on Saturday. I'm going to go out on a limb and say somebody from the FCAC is going to win the Class L title. Here's the rest of the schedule for today. Some out of our area, but again, we're to the states, so let's mention all these teams. In Class L, it's Avon and Notre Dame of West Haven at Palmer Field at 3:30. Staying in Class L, they stay at Palmer Field, the 7 o'clock game, Bristol Eastern and East Lyme. From Class M, Sheehan and Northwestern at Sage Park at 3:30, while it's Walcott and Haddam Killingworth at 7 o'clock. Class S, both these games at the Beehive in New Britain, Cromwell and Morgan at 5. That's the later game. Old Lyme and St. Paul Catholic are at 1:30. Boys tennis has the State Open at Yale at 4 o'clock. Boys volleyball at Fairfield Ward. It's Class L. It's Darien and Staples. That's at 6 o'clock. In Class L, it's East Hartford and Ridgefield. They're at Kennedy at 5 o'clock, while Joel Barlow and Newington meet at Shelton at 5, and South Windsor and Massac meet at Newington at 7 o'clock. Over to girls lacrosse now. Brantford and New Canaan at Bunnell. That's the latter of the two games. That's 7 o'clock at Bunnell and Stratford, while at 5 o'clock it's Daniel Hand and Joel Barlow. And again, both of those in Class M, winners trying to move on to the championship. Class S, those games will be at Southington. The 5 o'clock game is Old Lyme and Canton, while the 7 o'clock game is St. Joseph and Somers. Girls tennis will have their open at the CT Tennis Center at 3 o'clock. The girls golf will have divisional championships at Tashua Knolls. That is already a couple of hours in, and also a couple of hours in is the Division IV championship at Fairview Farms. From softball, Class L, Fitch and Torrington at DeLuca Field at Stratford. That's at 7. Earlier in the day at 4, it's Massac and Foreign, and again, that's at DeLuca Field at Stratford. But one more time, us, Darien Wilton, that's at 7. Greenwich Fairfield Ward at 5, and the boys semifinals. 2 divisions tomorrow, but a doubleheader that tomorrow on the HAN network as well from Rafferty Field at Fairfield University. Don Eng and I will catch you up on all of this on Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock today. With sports, I'm Rob Adams. Kate, back to you.
Thanks so much, Rob. Well, getting back to more news today, in Easton, school system administrators are working with an insurance provider to pay for the cost of damages from a lightning strike at Samuel Staples Elementary School. The lightning strike caused damage to various electric-based systems in the building, including air conditioning, entry access control, and sewer pumps. Peggy Sullivan, the school system's director of finance and operations, said on June 3rd that they didn't even realize the air conditioning had been impacted until they turned it on last week and it didn't work. Representatives of the insurance provider concluded that 3 lightning bolts struck the ground near Staples, with the electrical charge then apparently carried into the structure. Total damage could be in the $30,000 range, according to Sullivan. And the lightning strike occurred during a storm back on April 4th, with staff noticing some immediate problems with the access control system. And in other news today, Cafe Ruche, a restaurant and yoga studio, has filed a lawsuit against the town of Wilton, Wilton Center Development Limited Partnership, and Paragon Realty Group. The suit was filed in Superior Court in Bridgeport on May 23rd. You're seeing some clips from a content piece that HAN Network made with Cafe Ruche last year. The cafe was owned by Annie Horn and Barbara Chopin of Weston, and it opened at 101 Old Ridgefield Road back on December 22, 2014, but closed less than a year later. It had been a popular eatery and gathering place until a pervasive petroleum odor caused customers to stay away. That's the reason for the lawsuit. Odors believed to be coming from an illegally abandoned oil tank under the building. The town is being sued because it owns the building where Cafe Ruche leased space, but there's much more on that story at wiltonbulletin.com. And in Stratford, Mark Dumas may or may not be a member of the town council anymore. The Stratford Star reports that Dumas submitted a letter on Monday morning to town clerk Suzanne Pollock announcing that he was resigning from his seat as the 2nd District representative. The letter, recorded at about 8 in the morning, read that effective immediately, I resign from the Stratford Town Council. He went on to say, while I sincerely appreciate the honor of serving the residents of the 2nd District, my family and professional commitments are such that I do not feel I can adequately represent the district at this time. Dumas apparently had a change of heart, however. He sent Pollock a second letter recorded at the town clerk's office at 9:23 in the morning, indicating that he was withdrawing that resignation. It is unclear as to whether Dumas is off the town council or if the withdrawal letter will allow him to stay in his seat. Dumas was not immediately available for comment on Monday, but you can get updates on that story at stratfordstar.com. And according to the Connecticut Audubon Society, ospreys have made an amazing comeback after almost being driven to extinction. The Connecticut Audubon Society has found and mapped 575 osprey nests around the state. But the public can help ospreys by volunteering their birdwatching skills to monitor an osprey nest. It's easy. If you have binoculars and can spare about 15 minutes every 2 weeks, you can watch an osprey nest and then tell the Audubon Society what you see. If you want to get involved, you can email officials at osprey@ctaudubon.org. They say osprey eggs are starting to hatch now, and at this point in the season, they're mainly interested in when the baby ospreys will leave the nest. And a town skate park in Ridgefield celebrated a big milestone recently. It was 20 years ago that skating was extremely popular in Ridgefield, and merchants downtown couldn't keep kids on skates and skateboards off the sidewalks. Police were even making arrests, and there was a huge push to build the town skate park, one of the first in the region. A number of kids at the time went to the first selectman, who was sympathetic to their cause, and by July 24th, 1998, the ribbon cutting of the skate park was held. And you can see there the modern-day skate park, our intern Jenny Schrenker capturing some footage there. The Parks and Recreation marked the 20-year anniversary of the push for a skate park with a notice to the press. The group called themselves Spirit 96, an acronym for Skate Park in Ridgefield, It's Time. Back in '98, the New York Times even featured the park in an article describing the growing popularity of skating and Ridgefield's pioneering success story. The skate park still provides a rare opportunity for young people to congregate and socialize in a safe, friendly, and supportive environment while engaging in a personal, best type of sport with no timetables or pressures to win or succeed. Located at 60 Prospect Street behind Yanity Gym, the park is open from March through November, and people of all ages are welcome. Well, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories we're following today on your coffee break after this.
Mosquitoes, ticks, gone. Guaranteed. That's what Mosquito Squad guarantees as America's most trusted mosquito and tick control company. Locally owned and operated, over 90,000 homes have been protected by Mosquito Squad using their dual protection method for season-long protection, which includes barrier spray service for eliminating mosquitoes and adult ticks, as well as supplemental programs to increase tick control. They use only USDA organic options, which are safe and non-toxic. Contact them today at www.squadctny.com or 203-893-4309. Mosquito Squad. No bugs, no bites, no kidding.
Alberto Londano Professional Painting, Wallpapering, and Carpentry has been serving Fairfield County for over 20 years. Based in Norwalk, Alberto takes pride in his work by offering you only the best quality service and products. Call Alberto today to get a free estimate and be one step closer to a new and exciting home makeover. 203-866-9635.
Do you need help reaching or maintaining your fitness goals? For over 20 years, Mike Pernice has tailored his time and expertise to clients on both coasts whose schedules demand flexibility and accountability. Mike is a certified lifestyle manager and has been called upon to help his clients eliminate negative behaviors such as coping with stress, improving their time management, setting realistic life goals, and cutting down compulsive behavior. If you're ready to start working toward a more energetic, productive, and healthier you, call Mike Pernice.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with a Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network. Hi.
We're back on your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories that we're following today, including that state troopers in Bridgeport are looking for help to identify a male who was found unconscious on the right shoulder of Route 8 southbound near Exit 2 in Bridgeport. On June 6th at about 5 in the morning, an unidentified black male victim was located on the shoulder. The victim is suspected of falling from the Washington Street overpass in Bridgeport onto Route 8. Upon arrival, troopers located the male victim and rendered first aid. He was then transported to Bridgeport Hospital for evaluation of several broken bones, lacerations, and an apparent head injury. The male victim did not appear to have been struck by a motor vehicle. However, at the time, police said he was not in possession of any identification, but he's described as a black male with salt and pepper balding hair and a gray mustache and beard. The male victim is approximately 45 to 60 years old, about 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing 220 to 240 pounds. At the time of the accident, he was wearing a flannel shirt, work pants, and black sneakers. Anyone who may know the identity of the male victim or have more information can contact police at 203-696-2500. They say all calls will be kept confidential. And before Christopher Plaskin was sentenced to 25 years in prison on Monday, State's Attorney Kevin Lawler noted that it took only 33 seconds for Christopher Plaskin to take a life that many people described as promising and inspiring when he stabbed and killed Marin Sanchez in a stairwell at Jonathan Law High School back in 2014. That 33 seconds demonstrated the violence behind the attack, Lawler said of the killing, which happened on the day of the school's junior prom. On Monday, Judge John Ronan told Marin's parents that parole is a possibility and that they will both be advised if and when Plaskin does become eligible for parole. Plaskin, who was wearing a yellow jumpsuit and glasses, handcuffed and bowing his head at times, declined an offer to speak during the sentencing. His attorney, however, Edward Gavin, issued a comment for Plaskin, apologizing to Marin's family and friends. Jose Sanchez, Marin's father, decried the sentence as unfair because it means that Plaskin may be eligible for parole in 12 to 13 years. Sanchez said that while Plaskin may walk out of prison at the age of 32 or 33 with a college education, his daughter will not be walking out of her grave. He and Marin's mother, Donna Cimarella, battled through tears at the hearing, and both issued emotional statements when they got a chance to speak. But there's much more on that at milfordmirror.com. And in other news, a drunk Stamford man who allegedly tried to steal a Bedford Street parking attendant's car before crashing it into a concrete pillar in the parking lot was arraigned in court this week. The Stamford Advocate reports that the man was found with evidence of several other thefts in the area. Police say that just before 11:40 on Friday, a 59-year-old parking attendant on Bedford Street saw his Dodge Grand van pulling out of the spot where he had parked it a few hours earlier, and he watched it back into a pillar. Sergeant Robert Shawinski said that when the attendant tried to stop the man behind the wheel from fleeing, he was punched in the left eye and mouth before the suspect ran northbound on Bedford Street. A man then fitting that description was seen walking by the parking lot a few minutes later, and the attendant pointed at the man and told police that he was the one who crashed the car. That man, identified as 21-year-old Donovan Carter of Pequot Drive, they said they found some items on him that did clearly not belong to him. Police said that Carter, who was stinking of liquor with bloodshot eyes, could hardly stand on his feet, and told them that he had been drinking for nearly 11 hours straight and claimed to be a friend of the car's owner. When he was booked, police found 3 cell phones and 4 credit cards that were not in his name. And 5 Darien police officers will receive the United States Attorney's Award next week in New Haven for their work on a case that is a significant one to the department. Recently retired Lieutenant Ron Bucell, Officer Michael Cummings, Sergeant Jeremiah Marin, Officer James Martin, and Lieutenant George Chip Vitone have been notified that they received the award in connection with the investigation and ultimate conviction of Anthony Sabato in November. Sabato is the only person of interest in the 34-year unsolved murder of Officer Kenneth Bateman, and he was sentenced to more than 13 years in prison for drug trafficking in Hartford back in November. The judge also found when he was sentenced that Anthony Sabato had supplied the firearm that was used in the murder of Bateman on May 31st, 1981. More on that story at DarienTimes.com. We're going to throw it over to Rob Adams for a final look at the forecast. Rob?
All right, Kate, chance of showers, thunderstorms this afternoon. Some of those storms could produce small hail and gusty winds. Sounds like a good time. AJ, have fun setting up those cables over at Fairfield Ludlow for lacrosse later today. Just kidding. I'll be there too. Partly sunny and a high near 84 with the wind out of the southwest at 9 miles per hour. Partly cloudy and a low 58 tonight. Chance of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. Some of the storms again, hail, gusty winds, so keep an eye on that. Increasing clouds, high near 70. To Wednesday night, partly cloudy, low 52. Thursday, mostly sunny and 69. Friday, mostly sunny and 71. Saturday, partly sunny and 73. Sunday, chance of showers, partly sunny, and 74. And finally, to Monday, mostly sunny and 76. Not a bad day out there right now. Fairfield, you're at 78. Greenwich, you're up to 80. And right here in Shelton, we stay at 80 degrees. I'll see you for Nutmeg at 2. And then all that lacrosse later on today. Doubleheader, semifinals. Somebody's going to go on and play for a state championship after we're done with tonight.
That's right. It's a busy day. We're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but the Drive with Denise coming up in studio live at 12:30, so check that out. And as Rob said, Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock and girls lacrosse semifinals starting at 5 today. All right, we'll see you tomorrow for your coffee break at 11.